to part 1 of my Hearthstone arena guide, where I pretty much go through and show you the cards that I would select in a arena run. And today I think we're going to be selecting Warlock. It's my favorite of the three. Druid is alright, and it's one of my main classes in Constructed, but I feel like the Warlock's hero power really benefits in Arena. Rogue I do not like so much in Arena because a lot of its cards are combo-ish cards and cards that synergize with its hero power, but it's really hard to get full benefits out of that in an arena deck because you really need the specific cards to really make use of the hero power, and you don't always draft those cards in arena. So I'm going to go ahead and select Warlock. So between these three epics, it's easily going to be the piloted Sky Golem. Not Junk Bot because we don't have any mechs, and not South Sea Captain because we do not have any pirates. And this is overall a very consistent card and a really good card because when it dies you get a random 4-cost minion, which is usually pretty good. Next, between these three, Ancient Brewmaster is a pretty good card. It applies a lot of pressure at a 5/4 for 4 mana. Its Battle Cry could be a benefit, but it could also be not so great. Healbot on the other hand is low stats, but you restore 8 health to your hero. And the Fleshing Ghoul gains attack for every minion that dies in a turn. They're really all decent choices, but I think I'm going to go with the Fleshing Ghoul. In Arena, there tends to be a lot of minions that die, and the Fleshing Ghoul can really benefit from that and become a threat. And I've actually seen it carry games in Arena single-handedly. Alright, between these three, Tauren Warrior is not that great because its stats are not so good for the value. Power of Overwhelming is pretty good for removal. It can remove big creatures as well as be a nice finisher if you're looking for some extra damage. And Flame Imp has really good stats for the value, with the drawback being its Battle Cry. I think I'm going to go ahead and go with Power of Overwhelming. It's a close one, but I think Power of Overwhelming removal is just very important in Arena. So between the three, I'm going to have to go with the Iron for Grizzly. It just has the best stats for its mana cost. Zombie Chow is pretty good in Arena for controlling the board early on. Great turn 1 play. A second Power of Overwhelming also could be pretty good. Unstable Ghoul is alright as well. I already have 1 Power of Overwhelming, and we still do not have a turn 1 play, so I think I'm just going to go with Zombie Chow this time. Between these three, Sacrificial Pack is not really a viable option. Even in Warlock, it just, if you're going to want a healing card, you might as well pick up something like Anti-Killbot, but we passed on that. I think we're going to go with the Micro Machine. This is another card that it builds up attack per turn, and it can really apply pressure. Drain Life is like a worse Frostbolt or a worse Dark Bomb. Between these three, it's easily the Raging Worgen. The Raging Worgen, it puts up pressure if you get enraged, and it can carry games. So we're going to be deciding between the Boulder Fist Ogre and War Golem. Direwolf Alpha is also good in Arena. But I really like having a lot of big minions in Arena that are hard to remove. So I'm going to go ahead and go with the Boulderfist Ogre instead of the War Golem because it stays out of big game hunter range. And it can be pumped out a turn earlier than War Golem. So we're going to be deciding between Stormwind Knight and Spiteful Smith here. Spiteful Smith has better stats than the Stormwind Knight, but the Stormwind Knight also has charge, so it can quickly charge and remove something. I think overall, the Spiteful Smith is going to be more useful with the better stats. Really none of these are that great of choices. We don't even have that many Death Rattle minions, but I guess it's each Death Rattle minion on the board, which is pretty common actually for a taunt. This has pretty bad stats for 2 mana, but it gives at the end of the turn 1+1 attack. I think we're gonna go with this just because the taunt is very useful, and there's bound to be some Death Rattle minions on the board. We don't have any mechs, we don't have that many Death Rattle minions, so we're going to go with the Dragonskin Sorcerer for its stat value. I would almost never recommend drafting Priestess of the Elune. Its stats are just really bad for 6 mana. Jungle Panther is a pressure card, but with its stealth, but it has only 2 life. I think having another late game big minion is helpful, so we're going to go with the War Golem. Now we're starting to kind of load up on our top end, so it's making me not want to grab the Force Tanks Max, but the Force Tank Max is a good arena card. Although we're lacking some in 2-drops, and Direwolf Alpha is also a really good 2-drop. It allows your minions to trade up, or if you can protect it behind a taunt, you can get a lot of value out of its effect. So it's between these two. I think I'm going to go with the Force Tank Max still. I have a feeling we're going to be able to find a lot of early drops. Hellfire is a really good choice here because we have no AoE so far in this deck, and AoE will help out a lot. Sorry about my dog. I think I'm gonna take the Frostwolf Grunt. We only have one spell so far that has spell damage, so the taunt is going to be more useful than the spell damage. And Novice Engineer, yes, it draws a card, but it has bad stats, and we shouldn't have a problem getting cards because of our hero power. So we're going to be deciding between the Floating Watcher and the Draconoid Crusher. Summoning Portal is too much of a risk for 4 mana, because usually they'll get instantly removed, and you really need it to survive a turn so you can throw down your hand the following turn. So since we have a lot of top heavy cards, I think I'm going to go with the Floating Watcher. This is another card that can just carry games. Draconoid Crusher is more of a finishing off type of card. Swamp Ooze for stats and removal of weapon. So far we don't have any late game demons, but we do have the Floating Watcher, which could synergize with Void Color. Hopefully we get some more demons in this draft. Shadow Bolt I think is what we'll take for removal. Both Shadow Flame and Keyshaunt Mystic are both great cards, but Arena is just too good and Warlock. So we're really deciding between the Fen Creeper and the Mech Warper. We have no mechs, so we don't really take advantage of the ability. Actually, I take that back. We have 2 mechs, but it's not enough to say it's completely worth it. A 3-6 is bad stats though, even though it is a taunt. I think we're going to go with the Mech Warper just to get some more early game. We already have a lot of strong late game minions. Haunted Creeper, hands down. It has a very good death rattle, and it sticks to the board. It's not weak to AoE, and we do not use secrets, so Mad Scientist is bad, and Trollmaker Farseer is just bad stats, even though it does have Wind Fury. Interesting. I think I'm gonna grab Matter Bomber. Its effect can actually swing a game, and it also applies decent pressure. Whereas these cards, I mean, Pint-sized Summoner can give you tempo, but it also has worse stats. Illuminator is just, it's good at trading down, but it's not really good at applying pressure or trading up, and its ability just doesn't really matter in Warlock because we're not a secret class. So I'm going with the Matter Bomber. So it's between Power of Overwhelming and Void Caller. Corruption's not good at all. I would never consider drafting that. I think I'm going to go with the second Power of Overwhelming. Honestly, all 3 of these choices, I really can't see that great of a reason to pick one over the other. So I'm just looking at my mana curve, and I guess Razorfin Hunter, it also gives me a 1/1 boar. So it's like a 3/4. So it's slightly better stat value for its cost. So I'll go with that. Worse stats, but you get a 2 damage AoE to all characters when it dies. I already have a Hellfire and Shadow Flame, so I don't really need AoE. But Twilight Drake gains health according to how many cards in my hand. Usually in Arena, you're not holding cards in your hand. You're playing them down instantly. So I'm going to go ahead and, even though I do have a lot of AoE, I'm going to take Abomination. So I'm picking between Doomguard and Sludge Belcher. Doomguard does have synergy with my Void Caller that I drafted earlier, and it's also a great finisher. Sludge Belcher, though, is a really solid taunt. You can almost never go wrong with it in any sort of deck, and taunts are crucial to maintaining board control in Arena. So even though Doomguard does have synergy, I think I'm still going to go with the Sludge Belcher. Dread Infernal for synergy. Venture Co-Mercenary is a good card that's won me a lot of games in Arena just because of its stat value for 5 mana. Even with its drawback of your minions costing more, you can sometimes just sweep games with that card. Kind of like Fell Reaver, but Dread Infernal just has synergy with Void Caller. So it's between Abusive Sergeant and Spider Tank. They're both good choice. A 3/4 is really good for 3 mana. Abusive Sergeant is a good turn 1 play. Right now we only have 1 turn 1 play. And it allows my minions to either trade up or apply pressure to face. So I'm going to go with Abusive Sergeant. So it's between Wild Pyromancer and Nerubian Egg. I do have a Hellfire to activate it and some other AoE from my deck, like, where is it? Abomination, Matter Bomber, and Dread Infernal, so I have some ways to deal damage to it. However, the Wild Pyromancer does give me better stats. I think this is going to be... It's a tough one, but I think it's going to be Nerubian Egg to play around AoE. And alright, thank you guys all for watching my part 1 of my Warlock Arena guide. So stay tuned for part 2, in which I will show you some games I have with this deck, and you guys can see how I do.